Alright, what is going on, guys? This is HD Starcraft, of course, and I'm here to bring you guys another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the players in the bottom left-hand corner. Today, we'll be looking at the Red Terran. His name is HTOMario, and I've had the pleasure of casting a couple of games before on my YouTube channel. He's a very talented Terran. One game that comes to mind, Mario versus Clockwork. You guys should definitely check that one out. His opponent today, though, is going to be a Protoss and not a Zerg. His name is HTOMate. And he is going to be the blue Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner of Newkirk Precinct. Now, unfortunately, don't have too much information to give you guys about Mate. All I know is he is a Grandmaster's Protoss, so we'll have to be happy with that and see how this game goes down. Once again, if you guys have any sick replays, do feel free to send them in to me at HDreplays@gmail.com. One thing I should say about Mario that I've noticed in all of the games he plays, he really likes to employ a mech-based style. It seems to be his go-to strategy against Protoss, and you know, definitely nothing wrong about that. In fact, I think it's his go-to strategy against all races. Now that I think about it, he loves mech. In fact, against Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. But against Protoss, I really do feel like it is inherently the way one of the mech-based units are meant to be used, and that is the Widowmine. Remember, the Widowmine does a little bit more damage to shields, and there's only one race that uses shields, so I really do like to see Widowmines being used here, and looking forward to seeing Mario employ them here against Mate, and we'll see how Mate counters the mech-based playstyle of Mario, which is, like I said before, his go-to. So we'll see what happens here. Very, very interested to see how this game unfolds. I should let you guys know that I will be going to Las Vegas, Nevada in a couple of days. That's right, I'm going to be gambling all my monies away. But before I go, I am going to be casting a couple of games that I'll upload throughout the weekend. So make sure you guys tune in and check it out. And when I come back, of course, I'll have some new games for you guys. So there shouldn't be any drop-off in casting or anything like that. Pylon being used here to block a barracks from from building a tech lab, I guess. But that really doesn't do anything because, you know, Mario can just lift the building off and plant it down somewhere else. And plus, the Marine is out now. So that probe is, you know, his hopes and dreams of blocking a tech lab have been dashed. But instead, he's going to go for what all pros aspire to do, and that is zap an SCV down. Unfortunately for him, oh, look at this pro dodging from the probe. Holy moly, he's actually he's psyching out the Marine right now. That is actually sick. Sick micro right there. That's Huck micro, Huck probe 101. But now he is going to be forced to pull away as that SCV has been called off into service, and the probe, oh, nice little juke right there. But I think that Marine should be able to hunt it down. Unfortunately, a probe is not equipped with booster jetpack, so he's not able to leap down the cliffs and hop away like a Reaper is. Speaking of Reapers, of course, nowadays, guys, in Heart of the Storm, the Reaper is able to be constructed without a tech lab, which makes them a lot more available in the early game. They do a little bit less damage, but they are much better used for scouting. They aren't as cheesy as they were before. You do see more Terran players incorporating them now because they're not just like a gimmicky unit, but they can be incorporated in the early game quite easily. So that first Reaper is going to make its way over to the main base, or the natural, I should say, of the Protoss. And now it's going to try to make its way to the main base. Oh my god, a little bit of lag right there. Not too sure why, but probes, after being called off the line here from Mate, really doesn't want to let that Reaper into the mineral line. But I think as long as he gets a Stalker out, he should be okay. The thing is, a Zealot can chase a Reaper all he wants, but in the hands of a really good Terran player, you know, most Terrans aren't going to just let that Zealot hit them. And you can see this Reaper still hasn't been attacked yet. Really nice micro. Might actually get the kill here. No, but the Stalker comes out and is able to push it away. Now, of course, the Reaper, you know, it will regenerate its HP outside of combat, so it can be brought in a little bit later for more scouting duty. And back at home, Mario is adding on a factory and a starport. Looking like he wants to go for probably some Widowmine drops. As you can see, a Widowmine is being constructed right now. And this has become a really popular opening in Terran versus Protoss. The handful of Widow Mines with a handful of Marines, drop the Marines off like you would a normal medevac Marine drop. But instead of actually using your Marines to do damage, what you're trying to do is get the Widow Mines burrowed underground, protect them, and then, you know, just kind of wait and see. Sit back and let the mines do what they do. It's actually a great opening against Protoss players and has been used pretty effectively throughout the ladder. In fact, there was this thread on TL about Widow Mines and how so good they are. How, you know, how many games are won by mass Widow Mines, and apparently there's an alarming statistic about how many GM players just drop to just a mass Widow Mine opening from Terran players. I mean, it can be pretty deadly, I'll say that. But I like what Mate's done here. You know, he said, all right, forget the cheese, forget the gimmicks. I don't care about Reapers, I don't care about Widow Mines. I'm just going to throw a photon cannon at each of my mineral lines. He's got one in the main base right now. I think he's probably going to get one in the natural because he's got a pylon there already. So, you know, those mines probably not going to be able to do too much damage. And Mario's still going to try to go with this drop regardless. I mean, he has to. But I don't know if it's actually going to get much damage done. We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, on the production tower for the Protoss player, he is going for Twilight Council. So it looks like he wants to go for Twilight Tech. Has a mothership core on the way now from that natural nexus, and a photon cannon is on the way. So I don't know. I don't know how much damage this mine is going to be able to do. I mean, this is actually a great way to counter Widow Mines. If you're Protoss, it makes a lot of sense. Just get a photon cannon at each mineral line, and you know, Protoss do this in the late game in order to deal with drops from Terrans. Why not get it a little bit earlier to make sure you don't get completely stumped by a couple of mines ruining your day? I mean, that would really suck, right? More gateways being added on here. Templar Archives is on the way. Is Mate possibly gearing up for a 2-base all-in here? He's going for a lot of tech on 2 bases. We'll have to see how many gateways he throws down. But here we go. A drop on the way from Mario. He's got the Widow Mines and the Marines here. Now the Mines really can't get in range of the cannon, and Mate can see the Mines with the positioning on the cannon there. So unlikely he'll be able to do much damage. But instead he's going to go for the front here and going to try to get those Mines underground. Force fields being used. Nice force fields right there. You'll note that Mate's army is actually pretty small here. Every unit here is extremely susceptible to one Sentinel missile blast. The Templar, the Stalker, the Sentry, they'll all go down in one shot. But Mario decides not to push his luck, and he is out of there. He's gone. So he pulls his whole army away and says, all right, we'll save it for later. And I think Mate's going to be pretty happy with that, because honestly, he didn't really have that much at the front door to begin with. But man, is he rushing the tech on 2 bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gates. Templar, Storm, and Charge is now on the way. I think we're going to see a 2-base Charge Archon all in here, or maybe not. Wow, he's actually going to go for an expansion. So interesting. I thought for sure he was going to go for a 2-base timing, but maybe the Nexus is going to be a feigned Nexus, or maybe he's changing his mind and he's going to try to expand instead. I'm not entirely sure, but you'd think with all of these upgrades coming at once, Storm, Charge, with 7 gateways as well, you'd think he would go for some type of a timing push here, because he's going to have such a huge rush of units in about 30 seconds or so. You'd think he would try to push it and get some damage done. I certainly think he could breach the front door of Mario and maybe accomplish something, but he is letting this Nexus go as far as I can see. So what do I know? But there's also a robotics facility coming, so I guess he really does want to transition into Colossus or something. But I feel like it's such a waste. Why research charge lots? Why research Storm? Why get all these gateways if you're not going to actually utilize them and get an army on the field? I really feel like this is going to make Mate fall behind in the game. I mean, the whole point of build orders in StarCraft 2 is to execute when the timing is ready, and I feel like he's got all these warp gates, he's got everything going for him, but he doesn't even have an army. He's just trying to expand. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work out too well, but Mario is going to come in here, excuse me. And he's got a couple of Hellbats loaded up, looking for a flame drop. But there's a photon cannon there, so I don't know if it's really going to be all that effective. He could try, but with the photon cannon there, probably not going to work too well. We can see that one Marine there just got completely vanquished. Another Marine joins his brother. Yeah, save me, brothers. And the Zealots say, you need saving, we'll save you. They hack and slash him down. Here comes some Hellbats, though. And they are going to get dropped in the mineral line. The probes running away, though. The probes get out of there. Now, a Templar has been called in, assumedly, to feedback. Assumedly to feedback. And it does get the feedback off, so any hope of these Hellbats getting back home has just been dashed. And the Protoss army arrives to take them down, so the Hellbats are taken care of. And, you know, so far in this game, it's been pretty passive. Only three workers have gone down on one side, and on the other side, only one worker has gone down. So it's been a pretty passive game thus far. But I'm expecting things to heat up pretty soon here. You can see Drilling Claws is on the way. A lot of factories for Mario, as I expected. He is going with, you know, like a tank, Widowmine, Hellbat army. Not a bad idea at all. Those Zealots just ran right into the minefield. And, you know, to deal with this, if you're going to push out as Protoss, you do need an Observer. And you can see there is an Obs here. He'll need to move with the Observer unless he wants to lose forces for no reason at all. We can see the third base has been saturated, but, you know, this is weird. Mate is now pushing, you know, a couple minutes later than he really should have. And as a result, his army supply is actually lower than Mario's. I just don't know about his opening build. I think this really does hinder him. If he's going to go for a third, why not go for it earlier than he actually did? Why waste time to get charge lots, Archon, Storm, and whatnot? Now he's going to lose a couple of Templars while trying to actually save them with the Time Warp field, but two of the Templar were wasted. Wasted, not as in, you know, they were drunk last time. Well, maybe they were drunk last time and they just couldn't get out of harm's way in time, but they were certainly annihilated by those Hellions. And now here comes a Widowmine squad. A minefield is going to be deployed here, and Mate has to be very careful. Drilling Claws is ready, so they get down underground very quickly. The Zealot's taking a bunch of damage. Storm, though, being used to counter the mines. But, you know, I see what Mario's doing here. He's just planting the mines down, getting underground, getting out of harm's way, and then, you know, letting the Sentinel missiles detonate and using Drilling Claws to just completely, you know, get down, get up, get down, get up very quickly. And he's just playing a game of cat and mouse here with Mate. And Mate has to be careful, man. I think Mate's lost a lot more than he should have engaging this minefield. You know, a couple of Zealots, one or two Stalkers, you know, Templar energy for Storm. That was not good at all, and those mines are going to be called back home and probably repaired pretty soon here. And look at this army from Mario. It is continuing to build up. In fact, he's almost maxed out right now. Close to 200 supply, has a starport, going up to Ravens at the same time, got a fourth base muling up. Wow, Mario is really far ahead in this game right now, and there's just no two ways about it. Mate, I think his opening build hurt him a lot more than you guys might think, and now, you know, he's playing catch up. Not good at all for the Protoss player. How is he going to get himself out of this pickle that he's dug himself into? He needs another base, first of all, because Mario is now on 5 bases, so he definitely needs a 5th base of his own. And I think maybe he just needs some, I don't know, he needs to figure out how to stop this mech army in the late game. What is the right composition to stop the mech army? I don't know. He is actually making a lot of Immortals, so maybe Immortals is the way to go? I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, he's making 4 Immortals right now, so strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to have an Immortal firing squad from Mate. Apparently, Mate believes that Immortals are the key here. I like what he's done here. The old school Brood War pylon wall. Unfortunately, there are some gaps here in the wall, so forces are going to be able to leak on through that. I'm not too sure why he should just seal it off with cannons or a gateway or something like that and finish the job. But yeah, it looks like we do have Stargates on the way right now for Mate. So he wants to go into Sky Toss. Now, that is not a bad idea. If you're going to be dealing with Terran Metal, you know, getting some Carriers or Tempest out or Void Rays isn't too shabby at all. And this is kind of the evolution of Heart of the Swarm now. A lot of races go into their Sky counterparts. You know, you see late game Sky Terran, you see late game Sky Toss, and of course you always saw late game Sky Zerg in Wings of Liberty. It's just all races can do that now, so very interesting. You know, one thing I've never seen before is battle cruisers versus carriers. Is it possible in my years of casting StarCraft 2? That is the one fight I have never seen, battle cruisers and carriers. You know, it's interesting that they didn't just destroy the cooling tower here because it would fall down and block the ramp. Instead, he's really invested quite heavily into walling it off with pylons and cannons. And back at home here, Robotics Bay researching the all-crucial Warp Prism speed upgrade. And we do have the first Void Ray on the way right now. You know, the Protoss army finally is getting close to max now. 189, 191 supply. But looking at that surplus that Mario is now banking, 3,000 minerals, 1,500 gas. I just don't know how Mate is going to deal with this. I really think he fell behind early on. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But this army is, I mean, this army is scary. It is big, it is nasty, and it is coming. What is Mate going to be able to do to stop this? He has a lot of immortals. I mean, Jesus, how many immortals does he have? He's got so many immortals on the field right now. He's gonna go in and try to... Oh, he's gonna catch this Terran army. He's gonna catch half of it on the wrong side of the map. And force field's being used here to keep them in position. Very nice from Mate, and exactly what it needed to do. And you'll see that Mario is now gonna have to suck up some of that surplus in order to remax his army. Now, of course, he just remaxed it like in the blink of an eye because he's got so many factories and so much money. But that was a great engagement for Mate. Exactly what he needed. Now, look at this. He's got 14 immortals? 14 immortals on the units tab, and he's going in here. He's got 2 warp prisms as well, loaded with immortals. Gonna drop the immortals off in the front lines. Beautiful plays right here. Sick plays by Mate, dropping storms off as well. In fact, I think Mate is gonna be able to win this fight outright. The Void Ray chasing down the Raven, getting shot by a super missile. There's a sky battle you don't see every day, but on the main battle, the Protoss ground army wins, and it wins convincingly. Mate takes that army down, says, "What do you want? I got you." And that's exactly, I guess that's exactly how you countered, ladies and gentlemen, how you counter Terran Metal in a late game. Just say screw it and go mass immortal. Now, of course, the one thing you've got to be prepared for is a Terran player who's got a large bank and it's going to transition into mass battlecruiser. As you can see, 5 battlecruisers, 6 battlecruisers are on the way right now. Now, at least Mate will be able to take out one of these bases, which is great. He's trying to take out another planetary as well, but this one is a much more well defended, and Mate should wait to regroup with his forces in order to take that one down. I don't know why he's hesitating. He doesn't have all the time in the world. It looks like he's going to try to get into the Warp Prism into the main base, but it's completely engaged by a line of missile turrets, so it does get taken down. Now the battlecruiser's coming up to the top, and they will be able to keep this this command center alive. Beautiful defense here from Mario, and I think now that the battlecruisers have joined the fray, this army just has to pull out. There is no... Wow! Great secret missiles right there, just eradicating the shields of the immortals like an EMP shockwave. But as I was saying before, there's no way for Mate to engage. He doesn't have any anti-air. And back at home, he is going for a fleet beak, and he's making Void Rays right now. But he needs to get some type of way to counter the battlecruisers immediately. And actually, you know, Protoss has a lot of possibilities. They can use Void Rays with prismatic alignment, or they can just go for Tempest. I think Tempest are probably the better answer with their massive damage to massive. Now, I like what Mate's doing here. He's depositing some of Immortals off because why not? Immortals at this point aren't going to be all that great. You know, he's fighting against mostly a Sky Terran army now, and he's going to try to get some damage in. Immortals are pretty good against Hellbats as well. He should be able to take them down as they run up the ramp. But the Viking is here, and these Warp Prisms have got to get out of the way. And luckily for Mate, he will be able to save most of his immortals amazingly, and that's gonna be really nice because you can see Mario has rebuilt an army with a lot of Thors and Hellbats. Immortals are pretty good against that, against those types of units. Interesting game here. I actually can't believe I'm saying this, but Mate has caught up somehow, some way. You know, I guess it all came down to his composition. When behind, never fear, just have the right army composition and victory is near. So I guess that worked out pretty well for Mate, and he has actually pulled himself within a striking distance of this game. Of course, he's still fighting that massive surplus that Mario's got, but at least his army comp is really, really looking good, and you know, he kept most of his immortals alive, which is good. Now, does he have an answer for these battlecruisers? As they come barreling down the middle of the map, he actually has an answer. Feedbacks from the Templars, draining the energy of the BCs and doing a little bit of damage as well. Very nice job by Mate. Now, will he be able to win this fight? The Immortals are engaging everything on the ground. A lot of help from the Stalkers as well. Warp Prism bringing in reinforcements, and the Stalkers all come through as well. Beautiful plays. But the battlecruisers, the behemoths in the skies, are just completely unhindered. They're going to take out everything, and Mate has to pull away. And I like where he's going. Instead of pulling back into his own base, go attack. Force these BCs into a choice. Do we go on without defending our home, or you know, do we come back and defend? And oh, nice snipe right there by those Stalkers taking out that BC. But As I was saying, I like this engagement by Mate, and these Immortals and this Colossus are on a tour right now of the enemy territory, a campaign to do as much damage as possible. And I don't know if they should run up and surround themselves, corner themselves into the main base of the Terran player. Actually, I think maybe they've overstayed their welcome here. Might be time to get out of there, and these Immortals starting to take a lot of damage. Remember, the battle cruisers, the way their ATS laser battery works is they shoot little pricks of lasers, and those those do go underneath the Immortals' hardened shield. So the Immortals are just completely useless against BCs. They are going to have to pull away, but they turn around for a few seconds, get a couple of shots off. Nice play right there, taking out more Hellbats. Very, very nice. And Mario overextending just a little bit, but honestly, I feel like that was another battle that went pretty damn well for the Protoss. And now you look at the supplies, and things are getting a lot closer, but more BCs join the fray. Mario's got a lot of BCs, and he's got 322 as his upgrades right now, so his upgrades are fearsome. And it looks like he's just gone to straight BC mode, but look at Mate, he's got a counter for the BCs. He's going Mass Tempest. Now his upgrades aren't nearly as good. He's only got 1-1. But still, you have to remember the way the Tempest works is it's a capital airship designed to take down capital airships. It's resonance coil against massive air units. It does 85 damage with +1 weapons. It is just a sickening amount of damage. And even though Mario's got more BCs and better upgrades, I don't know if it's going to be enough to take out those Tempests. We'll have to see, but I definitely feel like Mate's getting a lot of momentum on his side. He's won the last couple of major battles. He's got a great composition as well. He's going to defend this Nexus in the top side to a small skirmish attack and cleans it up pretty handily. Very nice job. And Mario really starting to, I think, let things slip just a little bit. But look at that bank he's got once again. 6K, 3K, unbelievable. He's going to go in once again. Now the BCs get feedback, so they do lose some energy, but some of the BCs make their way through. Going to use Yamato to counter the Tempest, but it's just not enough. And look at how quickly the Tempest take down these BCs. It is an incredible rate of damage. I mean, every time they fire, it's like a firing squad just taking down these airships like they were not even there. And battlecruiser after battlecruiser just gets completely eradicated. Mate is going to win yet another massive fight, and Mario is going to have to dig once again deeply into his pockets in order to replenish his army on the field, and he needs to replenish it quickly because right now Mate is thinking about making an attack, and he's got a lot of Immortals mixed in on the ground. This is actually a pretty scary counter from Mate. Mate's chance right here is open. He has a chance to come back and win this game. He's ahead in supply. He's got a bigger army. He doesn't have the bank though. He has to make an attack, and look at this Widow Mines coming through in order to defend the base. Beautiful choice from Mario. He says, all right, you've got Immortals, you've got Tempest, but I've got Widow Mines. And Widow Mines will halt your advance. You have no zealots, you have no observers, you cannot see my mines. I know you don't want to waste expensive units just running into a minefield. So beautiful choice right there to counter the mines. And interestingly, is he really getting stim pack? Is he thinking about switching to Marines in order to counter this army? That would be such a sick late game tech switch. I don't know if he will, but he is actually building nuclear missiles right now. 4 nuclear missiles are on the way on the production tab, and that has my brain completely boggled. I don't know what he's thinking, but apparently the late game counter to Skytoss is to start making nukes, which obviously, they hit everything: air, ground, building, unit. They do a ton of damage, so we have a bunch of nuclear missiles being armed, prepped, and readied right now back in Project Manhattan. 6 silos back here, and he's building a shoot ton of nukes. I mean, this is just sick. Those probes just actually ran down the wrong alley. They just got mugged by those planetary fortresses. Give me your lunch money. And look at this, a probes, Revenge of the Probes trying to take down a Widow Mine. You don't see that every day. And the mine deciding not to burrow there. Gonna be a martyr for the Terran army and gets taken out. But Mario has definitely switched it up here. He's going for mass I guess nukes. Look at the units lost here. Surprisingly, Mario's lost more than Mate has. But the thing is, Mario's just got so much money spending right here. Obviously, Terran has spent a lot more in economy and technology. But I really do feel like Mate, the Protoss player, has a chance here in this game. He's pulled it back with battle after battle. He's just got to deal with this massive wave of Widow Mines, nuclear missiles. I mean, this is mostly just Widow Mines, and you know nuclear missiles are going to be launched soon. So this will be interesting. Is this the way to stop Mass Tempest Immortal? We'll have to wait and see. And interestingly, all players do have bases on the map. Here comes the next big engagement. The Widow Mines are all going to burrow down, and all that army, whoa, that was brutal. Most of it getting taken out right there by the minefield, simultaneous detonations. And Mario looking good. That was a great engagement for him, but he cannot fight against these Tempests, so he does decide to pull back. And there's a clever way to stop Tempest fire. I mean, basically the Tempest shoots so slow. You know, Widow Mines are the perfect counter to Tempest. And as you guys can see, it's just taking forever to blow through the energy of the mine. So really smart play right there by Mario. And here comes the nuclear missile. He's actually double nuking, I believe, and he's double nuking the main base as well. And he's gonna try to go for the facilities, the production facilities, and the Nexus now. It looks like Mate does know that nukes are coming. He's pulled the probes out of the way, and the nukes fall in quick succession, doing a ton of damage. More nukes coming into the main base, taking out critical for infrastructure for Mate, and the quick tactical strike is a success, and Mario is not over. He's not done with it yet. He's making 8 more nuclear missiles back on that production tab. So he really does want to, I guess, try to nuke his way into victory here. But how often have we seen a Darren player try to go nuke? He ends up investing all of his resources into it, and then he ends up losing the game. I sure hope that's not what happens here, but Mario is going to try to get clever here, going to try to steal money from the Protoss player. Now, it doesn't look like these meals are going to be able to make it back home due to the Tempest, but at least they permanently jack, I don't know, like 500 minerals or something. But look at this massive Viking squad coming in here, and this is a big engagement. As you guys can see, there's a ton of Vikings just clearing the way through the Tempest. Meanwhile, nuclear missiles being dropped into the pocket expansion. Time Warp Field getting dropped down as well. The Colossus trying to get out of harm's way. The nuclear missiles do land and take out that Nexus, so the Nexus is finished off. Meanwhile, the Vikings cleaning up all the Tempests. There are more nuclear missiles being dropped into the Protoss main base. There's action going on all over the place. Finally, the Vikings are going to be cleaned up by the Stalkers, and the nuclear missiles all hit home, and the Protoss infrastructure massively crippled, and that is so bad for Mate. I mean, honestly, look at his production tab now. It's going to be an open, massive gap. He's not going to be producing anything. He just lost like 2 Stargates and 4 or 5 gateways. 4 of them are unpowered as well. Mate cannot make anything right now, and he's gonna just try to go for a counterattack. Now, he did win the battle in the middle of the map. He took down all the Vikings, albeit he lost most of his Tempest, and now he's gonna try to go for the counter push, but he engages against a Widowmine Viking army that's been replenished, and oh, the Sentinel missiles striking once again, and the Vikings going in for cleanup duty. I don't know if Mate can actually stay here. I don't think he can get any damage done, and it might be time for him to pull out of harm's way. This is just not looking good for Mate at all. And now the Vikings are going to go ahead and land, and not good. Mate has to pull away. Mario with a brilliant defense, and unbelievably, I mean, he's basically nuking his way through the Protoss base. Another triad of nukes about to make their way over into the natural. And one Zealot has been called in, trying to take out one of these ghosts before a nuke can land. It looks like 1 nuke gets canceled, but 2 of them land regardless. And I mean, Mario, look at it. He's carved his way through the Protoss main base. I mean, the production tab for Mate is now just non-existent. I mean, he's got 3K, 2K, but he can't build anything because he doesn't have the production facilities to do so. He has no warp gates. He's just trying to triple. He's got triple robo, so he's going to try to remake warp gates right now. But this is the time when Mario can just say, I've killed all your production facilities. I know I'm maxed out. I know you're not. And Mario can just do whatever he wants. I mean, he once again claims the lead to this game with a beautiful play. I mean, massive battles going on all over the place. Nuclear missiles dropping inside the Protoss base. And now he's going to go for a death push straight down the gut. Takes out that Nexus like it wasn't even there. And Mate has to pull away. There's not much you can do about that. This army is just so scary. SCVs are all over the place repairing. Vikings are now landing to assist with the surface battle. And what can Mate do? Now, I like the storms. Those are pretty good storms, but there's no hope here against this type of army. He's got to pull up the ramp and just try to, I guess, sit it out and wait for more reinforcements to arrive. Now, the crazy thing is, if only he could dip into that bank of his, if only he could actually spend his money now, you know, he could make, if he had warp gates, he could make like 5 or 6 Templar, maybe more, and then push with some storms, and maybe he could clear out this army. But as it stands, he can't afford anything. He can't make anything. That's the biggest problem of all. And obviously, Mario now just camping outside the Protoss base. Now it looks like we're going to see one more engagement here. Mate trying to push out and clear the way, but I don't think he's got enough. The probe's actually running for it, and we have more nuclear missiles being launched here. 3 ghosts with another triad launch of nuclear missiles. The probes are going to be pulled out of the way, though. So probe casualties will be set to a minimum, but I think that the Thors could probably clean up the rest here, don't you guys? And that's funny, you don't usually see a squad of Thors escorting these ghosts and basically just going on cleanup duty here and finishing off what the ghosts could not. Very nice. And they are going to be able to pick off those that Nexus, and now waiting for the ghosts to once again nuke their way through the next expansion. And more production facilities are yet going to go down. The wall will be taken out as well. Just great nukes from Mario. And wow, you know, this was an amazing game. I've got to say, I thought Mate actually had a chance. He was pulling it back despite his build order disadvantage. He was looking good, guys, I have to say, but Mario just, you know, using those Terran mules, had a sick amount of money, and then started to use nuclear missiles. And when nukes are used, I mean, you know, all hell breaks loose. And more nukes are going to land here, so this base is a goner. And the probes are just scurrying out of the way. They're like, we don't want anything more to do with this. And they run right into the death trap. So out of the oven, into the fireplace. Man, I think at this point, the game's conclusion is pretty much all but set, barring some sort of miracle by Mate, who is still trying to hold out inside the main base. But yeah, now Mario's just distance mining. He's stealing Protoss minerals, and he's going to nuke his way up this ramp. Like it or not, of course, he can't just run up here because, you know, the Protoss has the high ground, so just nuke his way through, clear the facilities, and I like what he's doing, man. He can nuke with absolute impunity with these 3 ghosts. Just so many nuclear missiles back at home, but just a sick game by Mario. Really, I feel like he was starting to lose it a little bit, but the last couple of fights, just really incredible nukage. You know, good tech switching. He adapted to what Mate had, which was basically a mass immortal Tempest army. A little gimmicky, but it was actually stopping Mario's metal for some time. But then finally, Mario was able to adapt and counter. So very nice job. Those Stalkers did save that Nexus for a temporary amount of time, but we can see that the game is starting to dwindle down now. More defensive nukes being used. Mario hoping to hit home with 1 beauty nuke. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, though. Maybe he will. We'll see. That Thor is taken out. And oh, maybe he will actually get the nuke. Boom! And a nice little twist, a nice little ending right there. And Mate is forced to GG out of this game. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you guys have any sick reps, feel free to send them in to me at HDreplays@gmail.com. I'm going to be casting a few more games before I head out to Vegas this weekend and lose all my monies. But before I go, like I said, I'll be casting and then I'll be uploading them. So I hope you guys are tuned in for this weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video. And for now, this is HD Starcraft, and I'm signing out.